Hey parents, it's Jackie Brand here. I'm one of the licensed school counselors at Meadowview. Each month at Meadowview, our students learn about and practice and are recognized for demonstrating a specific character trait of the month. And during the month of October, students are learning about the character trait of respect. So students see posters like this one hanging around the school, and teachers reference it when they're teaching about the trait and their expectations. In school, we teach students that you show respect when you are listening attentively, you keep your hands and feet to yourself, you use polite and kind and appropriate words, and you take care of the building and the learning supplies. Each day at Meadowview, our students listen to the morning announcements. Maybe your kids have talked about them before. In addition to including typical info on the morning announcements, like what's for lunch and who the birthdays are in our school, any special events that are happening, students also get to hear a little bit about the character trait of the month. So they are shown teacher and student created videos that show how to be respectful and responsible in various places throughout the building. As you can see from these posters, students are also shown and explained the expectations in the hallway, lunchroom, restroom, recess, bus, and classrooms. The reasons we explicitly teach these expectations is that we want to be very clear about the importance of having a safe and positive school environment. And when students follow these expectations, there are just less injuries, less hurt feelings, and honestly, much more learning. So in Foundations, which is one of the specialist classes your student has, we take each class to various places around the building and practice these expectations that they've been learning from the teacher and from the morning announcements. And if we find out that a student or a class is struggling in a specific area, we revisit those expectations as a review. So there's a lot of repetition, so there isn't any confusion. Many of the ways that we teach respect at Meadowview probably mirror the expectations that you have at home. As a parent myself, I want my own kids to use a respectful tone of voice when they talk to me. I want them to respect their siblings' personal space, which is always interesting since I have 4 boys. And I also want to make sure that they are respecting their teachers and their coaches when they're not with me. And the good news is when you decide to teach and expect respectful behavior from your children at home and in the community, that carries over into our classrooms here. The consistency of those expectations makes it easier and more likely that the children will just continue to grow in their social skills over the years. I also like to remind myself and even other parents that if you're feeling that what you are doing to teach your child respectful and responsible behavior isn't working, you get to change it at any time. Maybe you started out by giving your child unlimited video game time when you bought them a console last year, and you want to change it because you want to scale back and have them earn that time by being respectful, right? Or doing their chores. You can change it up. You're not stuck with your first attempt, right? If you might realize, like looking back, I don't really love the tone of voice one of my kiddos or all my kiddos use when they talk to me. You get to stop, sit down, teach them and explain the new expectations for their tone of voice and let them know what the consequences will be if they are not willing to make that change. Parenting is hard. It's probably the hardest thing that most of us will ever do. And our first attempt at teaching or reinforcing a skill, it just might not work. Or maybe it works with one of your kids, but not the other kid. Just remember, you are in the driver's seat. So don't be afraid to change it up if the road you're on with your child is a little bit too bumpy.